Hi everyone, and welcome to The Scroll, your home for all things SWC 2020. Alongside veteran casters Make It a Bud and Stoic, I'm Daniel Degon Gonzalez. Guys, how are you feeling?
Doing great. Doing good. How are you?
It's great. It's our first episode here, so we don't have content to look back on. We have content to look forward to, including artifacts, how they're changing the game and changing the meta, plus this year's SWC tournament and how all of the regions will be participating. All right, first things first, artifacts. It was a new addition in the most recent update. Make It a Bud. How is that going to impact play here at SWC 2020?
Artifacts were a huge update that Comptos brought to us about 3 weeks ago, and essentially think of it as 2 extra runes, except they're artifacts, but they're like different runes that have different stats on these monsters. So they have a lot of base stats, but what's interesting is that they bring a lot of uniqueness, where they enhance the skills of monsters. And we're going to see that change the meta in a few ways, and you've already seen it on the ladder, but number one is recovery. So healing does a lot more now. So there's this new monster, old monster turned new monster, Molly, that essentially makes it so that your healing is amplified by up to 30%. So if Molly gets a violent proc, especially against a team that aims to burst, that's game over. Another stat that's huge is the additional damage as a percentage of total stat. And that's going to make a lot of multi-hitters such as Juno become a lot more powerful and oftentimes doubling or even tripling the Juno's damage output.
So Bud used a couple there. Molly, Juno, talking about healing, talking about crit, putting you on the spot here, Stoic. Who else do you think will be revolutionized with the addition of artifacts?
I'd like to ball it all in and call it bruisers. I think bruisers have become very, very strong with these artifacts coming out here. Not only are we getting additional stats, I say we because I'm a bruiser user myself, but we're getting all these additional stats. We're getting up to 3,000 more HP, up to 1,000 more attack power, 1,000 more defense, just coming out of the base stats alone. We're getting those additional stats like Make It a Bud had mentioned, where due to loss of HP, you're gaining more attack power, gaining more defense, right. All those percentages allowing your stats to grow as the match progresses.
All right, next up on the docket, it's the preview for SWC 2020. Now, 2019's edition brought a ton of fun, a lot of impact here. But now, we want to know, what is the meta going to be like going into the tournament? Again, Bud, I'll send that one to you first.
I mean, I think it's going to be a lot more bruisery, as Stoic had mentioned about what the artifacts bring. Healing, especially on Molly, bigger heals on Fran are going to allow you to survive a lot longer. Molly, with that passive to make your opponents glance, makes it so that if you're going for heavy nukes, you really need to make sure you're killing something early. Daphnis has become a lot weaker. The other interesting part that we'll see about this SWC is that we didn't have Beast Riders last year. And this year, Beast Riders are so dominant in this meta, I think it creates a lot of potential cleave and control combos where you can strip things and then have Savannahs come in and wipe out teams.
Again, Stoic, to you, the harder question. We talked about what's in it now. What gets removed from what we saw last year? Daphnis was one thing that was thrown out there. What else?
I'm not sure there's going to be much being removed, but like he had said, like high damage stuff is no longer going to be that like right up front there looking to snipe something and get it out of the way. But then there's also new 2As that we have coming in here. Vigor being an extremely strong werewolf with the recovery, the anti-crit, and his kit alone as a 2A unit is honestly astounding.
Always appreciate you guys with your predictions, given that there are so many different possibilities of units that could be in there. We'll keep an eye out for the ones that you've talked about. Time for a bracket reveal for the best region. Well, I guess second best region if you're going off of 2019 results. Americas. Let's take a look at the bracket to kick things off here. Which ones stand out to both of you guys, starting with you, Stoic?
Well, I mean, I think me and Chris are going to be saying the exact same match, but I'm gonna leave that to him, and I'm gonna go a little bit on the other side here. I'm gonna say a match that stands out for me is Ken Baller and J-Mac, but not necessarily that match, but that part of the bracket. I see Ken Baller doing very, very well in this tournament. Being a new face to SWC, I look forward to see all of his matches.
All right, interesting. And I'll talk about my most hyped match, but before that, in Ken Baller's bracket, I actually think Trokomu's a sleeper there. I think he has the Gianna Wedge at Nyx combo with other units, and he has a nice set of runes. I think if he has the right chips fall into place, I think he's one to watch out for. Obviously, the hyped match we're talking about is the Faint Memory versus Thompson matchup. Faint Memory, a very outspoken member of the community and also known to be very intelligent with his plays. I think if there's anyone without an L&D monster that has a chance against Thompson, it is Faint Memory. I still think this matchup favors Thompson quite a bit just because of the depth of runes and monsters. But if there's anyone who can figure out a way to do it to dethrone NA's champ, would be Faint Memory.
Faint Mem versus Thompson is shaping up to be the biggest match in all of the prelims. Thompson, of course, has SWC history at his back, but Faint Memory is one of the most creative and adaptable players in this entire tournament. So if anybody has what it takes to take down Thompson, I think it could be him, and so you can expect to see either of these guys at the finals.
All right, so you talked a little bit about predictions of some of the monsters that we would see, but the players themselves had the opportunity to talk about who they wanted to face and didn't want to face. And when it came to monsters that they didn't want to face, one name rose above all of them. And for context, this was pre-patch. We pulled all 16 players plus 2 alternate players just in case one of them couldn't make it. So we have 18 votes here. And 17 out of the 18 said Gianna, one of those monsters that they don't want to see. Why is that?
I mean, if there is any indication that a monster needs to be nerfed, it is that you have all your top players fearing that monster. And the reason why it's scary is because that third skill strips and stuns you if you have a buff on, and then drops a bomb to do damage, which is an additional stun later on in the game. It's an extremely oppressive unit, and if you can't outspeed the Gianna, there's very few ways to get through and still have Will on your team or whatnot.
So we were able to poll the 16 players plus the 2 alternates on who they thought would be the America's champion. And predictions kind of go off of the results of last year. 12 players thought that Thompson would be the America's Cup champion, with 6 other players getting votes. Tree got 2, Faint Memory got 2, J-Mac got 1, and Thompson voted someone from SSA because he had to vote. I mean, you know, he was just kind of throwing it away.
You can't vote for yourself, huh?
Do you agree with the players?
If I was a betting man, I'd have to go with last year's runner-up. Number 2 in the world is, is tough to beat. And when you look at the depth and breadth of Thompson's box and his runes, no doubt he is the favorite to win.
5 SSA members in there, all guilties of mine, so it could be any one of them. But I think Thompson is definitely a favorite. I think they're all right on that. Thompson and Tree, they both have the credentials to win it all, to be honest.
All right, Stoic, for you, Raigeki against Topa V. Who do you got?
Both of them are really good friends of mine. I really enjoy watching both of them play. I think this is a fantastic match. If I were to go 50-50 on it, I think that's very fair to say. Topa V, he's got his Yanhong. Raigeki having, I think, 1 or maybe 2 viable LD Nat 5s. I know he's been playing a lot of Oberon lately. I'm just not sure if Topa V is ready for that, or is he ready for Topa V's control? I guess we'll find out, and I think to say 50-50 was definitely fair for them.
Now, I love both of these guys, but Topa needs to watch out because Raigeki is a serious threat. They have a very similar playstyle, and that also leads to a shared monster pool. What this match is going to come down to is those non-Ganithor units. So Oberon on Raigeki's side, and that Yanhong Ileana combo from Topa V. This could go either way.
All right, again, the closest matchup in the qualifiers. That's an 8 versus 9 matchup. Now moving to match number 3, which is the 4th seed Heaves against 13th seed Fall Panda. Bud, who do you got in that?
I think I got Heaves winning that one. He's traditionally very strong on the ladder with pretty consistent plays. Heaves also owns a Light Panda. Fall Panda has the Ragdoll, I believe, which gets countered pretty hard by that Light Panda. So the 2 LDs kind of nullify each other, and I think Heaves has better runes and has had some sort of tournament experience. I guess both of them have tournament experience, but from what I've seen, Heaves is generally the cleaner player of the 2.
The one that we all think we got, even though the ranks are kind of inversed, number 5, Faint Memory, against number 12, but number 2 in the world, Thompson. Stoic, what do you got here? Any upset alert here?
Like we said, Faint Memory is probably the person here to take down Thompson, but I'd have to favor Thompson in this matchup.
Stoic, you were pretty high on Ken Baller. He is the higher seed in this one, 7 versus 10, which is J-Mac. Who you got?
I definitely have Ken Baller in this situation. I mean, I'm not going to say that it's going to be an absolute blowout. Ken Balla has them all day. I think Violent Ruins is a thing that still exists, and RNG is forever going to remain in this game. But Ken Balla has the Ragdoll. He has the Pater as well. I think he has a couple other LD Nat 5s. I'm not sure if we'll see them, but I know those two are very heavy in his draft, so I'd have to definitely give this one to Ken Balla.
All right, moving further down. 3 versus 14, the match made in South America. Dreams Joseph against Igor. Peru against Brazil. Who you got in this one, bud?
I actually would favor the Brazil. I got to go with the Brazilians on this one.
Whoa.
And the reason why is that I remember playing against Igor on the ladder before, and his Gianna is pretty well ruined. He actually drafted quite well against me, and I think he plays very clean. These good, solid plays. And Dreams Joseph, I don't think, has an LD Nat 5 yet. And I think that while he does abuse the Beast Riders a lot, I think Igor has good plays as well. And despite having lack of tournament experience, I favor him this matchup, and I wouldn't be surprised to see an upset.
That's right. Dreams Joseph was there last year for the 2019 America's Cup. Fell a little bit short, but again, 3rd seed looks pretty good, but Igor with the backing of his whole country as well. That'll be a cool one. Last one, but not least, Zafarias against Trocamu. Who you got on this one, Stoic?
That's right. We got another guildie in here, Trocamu from SSA as well. If you met this guy in person, I feel like he'd still win no matter what. Trocamu is honestly, he's an awesome dude. He's a big dude. But I think even when it comes to AT, I think Trocamu is going to be taking this one over Zafarias.
All right, now taking a look at the Japan bracket. Here it is, the preliminary bracket. It's UT Play against Shiki, Matsu against Buruburu, Kaburera against Masayu, and Mahi against Tanaka Tsubasa. What names jump out when you take a look at that bracket, bud?
I mean, the first one that jumps out to me is Matsu. I mean, we've seen him before in tournaments. He's a well-known Yunhong user, and interestingly enough, I've played him a ton on the ladder, and we actually always give this friendly emote. The new thing that Comp Plus implemented, those emotes, we always give each other a friendly wave in the game before we start. So I view him as a very friendly player, and I see him with this tournament experience doing quite well here.
Thanks, emotes. Who you got, Stoic?
Got to go with UT Play here. I think he's the other player that's played in previous SWCs as well. I believe UT Play did well in the Japan Cup as well. So I'd expect he would do well here as well with the tournament experience.
If you guys have more information on it, spam it in the comments. We'll be scouring as we start closing in on SWC 2020 proper. All right, everyone, that does it for our first episode of The Scroll SWC 2020. Next time you see us, we'll be in studio, in our live studio. The 3 of us will be together. It's going to be crazy. Any final words, bud?
I mean, I just hope everyone enjoys this. I've been looking forward to this for a long time, and so we get to see some high-level play, some Gianna abuse, some Hathor abuse. Can't wait to see how players counter that and how they use their artifacts to the full advantage.
How about you, Stoic?
I've been looking forward to this since last year. I'm excited to see how all these players are going to be playing with all the new updates that we've gotten, the addition to artifacts, and all the new unit buffs and nerfs. So looking forward to seeing how things are going to be working out this tournament.
All right, and all the action kicks off Saturday, August 29th at 12 Pacific. Make sure you tune in then. Until then, we'll see you later.